Jörg's ready.
Can we jump on this plane now?
Yes, like this way. Madagascar week.
Hot blood running through my veins. I hit hard like a hurricane. Mind sharp like a razor blade. I'm a knockout, knockout. There's no doubt. I'm a champion. Got gold hanging from my neck. Lion's pride lives in my chest. Ain't no man put me to the test. Ain't no doubt that I'm the best. I'm a knockout, knockout. There's no doubt. I'm a champion.
Madagascar madness.
Madagascar madness.
Guys, welcome to Thursday night here at Lowrance's head offices in the centre of town for the Go Fish Weekly wrap-up. John, we welcome you back.
Thank you very
Another
much.
show. Thanks very much for hosting us here at Lowrance.
No problem.
And as everyone knows, Byron, good evening, what?
Evening, everyone. Glad to be back at Lowrance.
Yeah,
Good to be here.
100%. So this week's show, we're going to be going over, obviously we're here at the headquarters of Lowrance here in Durban, and we're going to be chatting a bit about the hook range of fish finders and units, and we're going to be going through the basic setup of how to go about setting up your unit once you take it out of the box, making sure it's set up, ready for you to go and find fish, as well as going over a couple of Q&A questions, hopefully, that you guys are going to send. We've got a couple already lined up that Byron's got here for us, and one or two other little interesting elements to fish finders that we feel need to be covered, questions that are often asked, and little things that are going to help you along in your fishing if you're not too sharp on the electronic side of things. This is definitely what this is all about. We're going to obviously make it a consistent meeting here with Lowrance, hopefully once a month. We try to do it once a month. Unfortunately, a few things got in the way since our last one.
Yeah.
But on our last one, we covered, catching fish, and John had the bullfish as well, and that. So there's been a bit of there's been good reason, unfortunately, that we haven't stayed true to doing it once a month. But we are here now. The last one that we had, John, we went through just the basics of the terminologies behind finders.
Correct.
Yeah. So we chatted a lot about the maps and your charts and the sort of the finder itself, your sonar and all that sort of thing. Now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the unit itself, as well as setting up that specific unit.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think also just from going through the units, there's been so much developments in the last, I would actually say in the last sort of like even just a year, advances made, that even from my perspective, I mean, the lower end units that didn't have a lot of features now have got just about all those features.
Sure.
So obviously, as you move up, there are better quality and there are additional add-ons that come with it. But the reality is now is that you can, and we spoke about it last time, you can get into a great unit that literally gives you all the features. It might be in the base features of it, but they are all there.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see it tonight when we go through the Hook Reveal series.
No, we listen.
Some awesome stuff there.
We listen to the end user, the questions that they ask, what they want inside the unit, and we try and incorporate those features into from the entry levels all the way through. So stuff like live mapping and stuff that we didn't have on the previous models, which are all now included in the
I mean, you've got those as sort of almost stock standard features on these units. You can only imagine what you're going to get when you're going up on the 100%. Sort of top and high echelon sort of units. I mean, it must be out of this world.
There's when we move to the bigger end units, there's a lot of third-party products that we can add into the system. We don't like to call it a fish finder. We like to call it an MFD, which is a multifunctional display. So we allow a lot of information coming through to the screen, like autopilots and that. Everything gets controlled through the screen.
Sure, amazing. Guys, unfortunately, we've got quite a bit of weather that's hit us here all of a sudden. The heavens have opened, so if you can't hear too well and there's a little bit of disturbance in the background, please let us know, and we'll try and improve that sound for you.
We'll cancel and reload tomorrow night.
Yeah. This week we were fortunate enough, myself, Byron, and Ellie. Unfortunately, Brendan had to go back. We had an absolutely amazing weekend down in Shelly Beach. We went down on Friday, fished the waters off of Protea, fished areas like Deep Gat and a couple of areas around there, and we were really spoilt by Charles Duplessis and Faith Latergan in having them take us in there, show us around the waters of Shelly Beach, as well as meeting a couple of the members of the club. And unfortunately on Friday, we also had Tristan Thorensen that won that comp of ours to come and fish with us on Friday. We had a really, really good time. Got Tristan stuck into two really big fish. One got right near the boat. Unfortunately, the hook actually broke. It was a good fish of probably about 35 kilos, a nice elephant. And we lost actually 9 fish that day. A couple of them got sharked. A couple of others, hooks pulled. It was just an absolute bugger up of a day on Friday, but it was still it was a pearl of a day. It was awesome to meet those guys. We then reloaded for Monday and went out fishing with him. Byron was there as well, managed to jump work for a little bit and
what do you mean? I had a bit of a cough.
and joined us out there, and we had an absolute ball of a day. BK, it was the fish were on, eh?
Yeah, and I think they were on just about all over. It looked like the guys got good fish up and down the coast. So, but it was one of those just perler days. We had it was a nice safe launch out of Shelly. It was literally no backline. And then we managed to get onto some great fish. It was just chaos at stages. It was just Ellie and myself on fishing on Hurricane. So a couple of times we had double ups on the popper, on the jig, on the bucktail. You'll see there in this pro bucktail there, Ellie getting a nice tuna there. So it was just great fun because you were able to fish a whole lot of different facets, and you were rewarded. So it was one of those epic days. And there you can see Faith got a great fish as well. She had a fish of I think about 25 or 26 kilo yellowfin, so quality fish that came out on the kite. You can see in the background, and we'll be putting together a show around that weekend. So you'll catch that, and just don't miss that out because there's some technical aspects there that they shared, which we're very grateful to them for.
Yeah.
Which is going to shift it to another level. There's no doubt about it, guys. The kite is going to shift it to another level. So, watch out for that coming soon. Yeah,
I've got to tell you, and we brought it up on the boat as well. Fishing with, you've got 2 Satsa anglers there. Faith in herself is just massively impressive with the credentials she comes along with from those 6 gold medals in skippering, as well as then to top it all off as well, she's an incredible fisherman as well. Fisherman, whatever. and then you've also got Charles as well, who's also just phenomenal, and he knows his kite fishing. And I've never ever seen. I mean, you go to different destinations, and this is what we were talking about. You've got Ballito in the north, you've got Durban, and you've got Shelley Beach. Not far apart from each other. You've got three, I can guarantee now, each destination, each oaks fished differently for the same species.
Yeah.
And this just showed it here this weekend.
100%.
That kite is something that is going to take, it's going to take it to another level. Like you said, it is just incredible. The catch ratio that you get on that kite is just phenomenal. It's just all comes down to bait presentation at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. It was phenomenal to see that. So big thanks to Faith and Charles for spoiling us there these last couple of days. A massive thanks to Tightline Fisheries as well. They spoiled us with some prawns on one night. They have got the freshest seafood on the coastline down the coast there near Shelley Beach. If you need their details to get some really fresh seafood, if you're down that area, it is well worth a visit. They've also got a shop with like a takeaway as well.
Yeah, a takeaway in Margaret. Yeah, just Google them, you'll pick it up.
Yeah.
They wholesale, and then obviously they've got retail as well.
Yeah,
but
unreal.
Real quality there. Yeah,
You'll catch all of that on our Shelley Beach series, which will be coming to you guys soon. Every Monday night, remember, at 8 o'clock on Go Fish with Friends. On the back of Charles's boat here, 200 Suzukis. It's just, I nearly got thrown off the boat again when we launched on the Friday.
I am getting worried about you. When the skip says, okay, ready, hold on, it means ready, hold on.
No, cheap as it was nearly a bugger up there. I was nearly in the bloody mid-break there. But yeah, no, she did give me fair warning, but I wasn't expecting that sort of force. It was like having a Boeing behind you when you take off. It's unreal. But in saying that lean burn technology from Suzuki that they've brought into those motors and into the industry has taken those motors to another level in terms of fuel efficiency.
Yeah,
it's incredible, and I think the whole day that he fished, he went through 2.5, just over 2 tanks per engine, which is unheard of, and we did a lot of
pushing
mileage.
an 8-meter boat.
Yeah,
it's a big boat as well.
Yeah,
So, no, they are. I mean, and the same. I mean, I fished that day as well. I mean, we probably used about a tank and a half.
Yeah.
On Monday, and we went up to Shepston. We were on Shepston bricks.
Yeah.
And then we came back down, running up on the drifts of like 500 meters. So, yeah, I mean, they're phenomenal, and that power that you're getting is obviously that transfer that they've got in the box.
Sure. Yeah.
So that delivery of power just comes out. I mean, the torque is there. It's superb. It really is.
Guys, it's well worth a look at the Suzuki website for all the details and information on their motors. They've obviously got a hell of a lot of groundbreaking technology that they've got in their engines, but it's well worth a look on their website. A couple of tips on fuel efficiency from Suzuki. Some stock standard things, but sometimes we forget about them in the haste of when we get a new boat. One of them, make sure that the prop best suits the boat or the style of angling or style of boating that you're doing. It's vitally important. I mean, you can touch a bit on that.
100%. You know, where we launch, so your standard prop on an 80. So I'm running in a 70 to the 100, which is the same size block. Your standard prop is a 17 pitch, and basically, just to give a quick bit of background, if you go down in pitch, gives you more power, higher revs, less top end. If you go up in pitch, slightly less power out the hole, but more top end. And therefore, if you've got more top end, your revs are running lower when you're going at medium speed, so you'll be slightly more fuel efficient. So I've got 2 80s on a 19-foot boat, and it's quite a heavy boat. And I'm still running 19s launching through surf at Mshlonga because the run to the back line in Mshlonga is quite short. So I don't need huge power, and you don't play in the surf there because there's nowhere to play. You're either going out or you going on the bricks. So you need to match that to your point. You know, it depends where you're launching. If you're going to be playing in the surf, generally you stick with the standard that it comes with. Or if you want more power, you in a lot of white water, then you could possibly go down. So 17s, you go to 15s. I'm running 19, so I get more fuel efficiency, lower revs running at my travel speed. So yeah, but it's important. But chat to guys as well, you know, and you have to actually put on your boat and check it out as well, because each boat is slightly different in terms of their weight and also the speed out of the hole as well.
100%. Any reputable boat dealer, I'm sure, will be able to match you up properly with with the correct prop for your boats there. Obviously, quality gas, using low octane or contaminated fuel can also contribute to that lack of fuel efficiency, as well as old or bad quality oil as well can foul the plugs, cause you some issues there. And obviously, bottom of your boat, making sure your engines are trimmed with the correct trim and that sort of thing, that all contributes to your fuel efficiency and that. But if you want more information on that, hop onto Suzuki's website and they have got all that information for you right there at a click of a button. We'll post a little link on that little fuel efficiency tip for you on the actual feed a little bit later on. Moving into holiday season now, as we're coming into December, and a lot of the guys are going to be traveling, whether you're traveling across border or down to KZN, hopefully coming to take advantage of our bounty off of Durban and off the coastline. But before you head out on your holiday, make sure that you are properly covered, especially if you're going cross border. Specific things like making sure you've got your papers for your cars and boats. Specify the gear that you're taking up at replacement value on your policy. Add the 24/7 call assist number to your phone so that you are properly covered in that regard. You never want to be stuck on the side of the road and not know what number to phone. Club Marine gives you that option, and obviously very, very useful one to make sure that your family is always safe. And lastly, remember, because you don't want to be in trouble with the missus or the lighties, remember to insure those Christmas gifts, chaps. I bet you haven't thought of that, but it's a good one, especially if you're carrying some expensive ones. You don't want to be sitting there on the side of the road and telling the missus that a Christmas present has just walked out the back of the cab. Yeah. It's never a good start to your 25th of December. But
small things that become big things.
Yeah, exactly.
Rapidly.
That'll make a holiday one to remember for all the wrong reasons. But on Club Marine, on the subject of Club Marine are giving us, are putting together a massive comp at the moment, guys. So you can win 1 year's complimentary insurance on any watercraft. You must be an SA resident. You can win 1 year complimentary insurance on any watercraft. Club Marine will pay the annual premium on the hull, motor, and trailer. And then on all your equipment and gear, they will give you preferential or reduced rates on that as well. So this prize, it's a massive prize. It is a massive prize, guys. And during the week as well, every week, starting from next week Thursday show, we will be announcing a winner every week leading up to the final draw, which will be on the 19th of January and announced on the 21st of January and on our live show. So every week that there is a Go Fish live show, a live wrap-up, we will be drawing a winner to win a Go Fish, fully kitted out in Go Fish clothing, cap, moisture management shirt, and a tee. Or an alternative prize is the Club Marine packs, which is a t-shirt, a neckband, and a cap or a peak. So you'll be winning every week that we have a live stream show going between now and the 21st of January. And then obviously there's that main prize for that year's worth of complimentary insurance sponsored to you by Club Marine. And how you enter is you like the Club Marine Insurance Facebook page, share the competition post, and tag 3 of your mates in that post. It's as simple as that. We'll track it from there, and we'll make sure that the winners are announced weekly, and then obviously that main prize on the 21st of January is given away to one lucky winner. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We're going to put the link on that competition into our feed.
Listen carefully now. Next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first winner
next week. All right.
The first winner will be announced next week.
Okay.
All right. On that note, Club Marine and Lowrance are going to be involved in a couple of comps coming up. We've got the Umhlanga Summer Festival, which is a kayak, jet ski, and ski boat comp on the 5th and 6th of December, next weekend.
Yeah.
Are you ready for that, BK? I know you've been heavily involved together with the
the
lovely Mary Kane.
Yeah, we've managed to pull it off. It was cancelled because of COVID, so we slightly scaled it down. We said, guys, hungry to fish, rather than wait till next year, we've slotted it in for the 5th and 6th. It's 50 grand first prize, biggest fish. And guys, you can launch anywhere. So you can launch anywhere from Port Edward to Richards Bay. So you don't even have to leave where you normally launch and fish from. You just have to enter. You can launch there. You can weigh your fish in Shelley Beach or Richards Bay or Mshlonga on the Saturday. It's only on the Sunday that you need to come to Mshlonga to weigh your fish. So, and it's kitted, guys. We've got the tent, we've got a band, we've got specials running the whole weekend. We've got some beverages, some cracker specials. Don't know if I can mention the one we're doing. Got quick one, but a Red Bull and double vodka for $20 on Friday night while stocks last. Okay, so don't be late. That's the Mshlonga Ski Boat Club. It'll be on the 4th of December, Friday night.
Lekker.
So don't be late. But yeah, guys, if you can support us on that, it'll be fantastic. It's going to be a great comp.
Byron always organises the DOP specials on the night before the comp starts, so you can get one up on the members, which is always lekker. Nice one. But no, guys, seriously, if you haven't been to the Mshlonga Ski Boat Club, it is an incredible club to visit. At the moment, you almost use it as the sort of benchmark against the other clubs from a social aspect, and just what you guys have got on offer is incredible for the family, not only for the fishermen but for the family and the kids as well. They've got pools, they've got little jungle gyms, swings, and then they've got lots of stuff for the kids as well. but no, it really is a lovely club. And then we've got the Belito comp on the 17th to the 20th of December as well. So 2 big comps coming up that you guys can look forward to. You can find all that information on our Facebook page. We are going to be jumping straight into it, chaps. I don't know if you want to move over to the finder that you're going to be talking on. In the meantime, I'm going to be showing you a little clip from the Seychelles. A mate of ours from the Seychelles, old Keegan Murgatroyd, is over there at the moment. He's coming back on Saturday. And guys, this is one of the trips that Go Fish offers currently to the Seychelles. We do Lazarus Banks, we do the Seychelles, we do Madagascar, and an array of other destinations to big game, to enjoy some big game fishing, GT popping and jigging. And at the moment, Keegan is there currently, and these are just some of the videos that he's been sending us. We'll pop on there now and have a look. Check it out.
So we'll stand up, but let's stand and just run through it, and then we can just move over there. So we're going to move.
Fucking GT matter.
Reveal models. I just wanted to tell you about the promotion that Lowrance is running this month. As of the 20th of November to the 22nd of December, we're running a special where you buy any of the hook reveal units, that's the 5-inch, the 7 or the 9-inch, and you'll receive a Lowrance branded gift pack. Now in that gift pack we have the Lowrance branded cap, a float key, a measuring sticker, a face shield, a towel, and then a dry bag. So the competition works as follows. So for any unit that's purchased within that date, through the end user, the dealers, the end user will take that invoice. So make sure that the date and the serial number is on that invoice, and then go onto the lowrance.co.za website. Right at the bottom there's a link in there for you guys to submit your invoices, and then once a week Navico will send us the qualifying serial numbers, and then we'll dispatch your brand pack directly to you. So let's move over to the unit and then run through one or two of the features. I'm going to try and do it on the 9-inch for you guys, just because it's a bigger screen, but the features on the 5, the 7 and the 9 is exactly the same. There's one difference, is the 5 doesn't come in a triple shot, which is the side scan, down scan feature for structure scan, but we do have them in the 7 and the 9. Okay.
John, so I mean, this is essentially though, from a layman's point of view, this is the sort of the entry level. I know it's not the necessarily right terminology, but the entry level, or the entry level to start on. In the
We like to refer to it as good, better, good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So obviously we'll have chart. All the Lowrance units that we currently have in our range is GPS and fish finder combos, except for this little 4-inch. That's more for the guys, the weekend warriors, the guys on the river boats and kayaks. So let me just go through charts. So from a charting perspective, we've got 2 options. We've got where you can do your own charts live via a blank SD card, or we can do the Navionics East Coast chart with the fish and chip, which we refer to as the sonar overlay. So you get 1 foot contour intervals. Now you'll see on each page that I go through, you'll have some overlay data that's listed on the left hand side. And
So just when we're talking overlay, we're talking about information that you would want to see. So your water temperature, your speed over ground. You can put your bearing. Once you put in a waypoint, it'll say your bearing to the waypoint. You can have your bearing that you're traveling on. So you would obviously match the bearing that you're traveling on to the bearing that you want to be to the waypoint. You can have speed over ground and multiple other pieces of information that would be relevant to you. And that's how you would set up your screen. And then so you can go in, and John will show you how to get to that.
Okay, so let's take for instance the chart page. It doesn't mean that if you put overlays onto your chart page, it's going to automatically go to your sonar screen. So each page that you select, you'll have to customize for the information that you want to see. But to do it, press the power button once, go to edit overlay, press add in the top right hand corner, and there you'll find a list of everything that you can see. So we'll start from GPS. We'll have altitude, course over ground, position, speed over ground.
Just explaining each one of those there is exactly what the guys will probably want to also understand. Yeah.
Okay, so course over ground is obviously the direction in bearing where we're going, your current position. I'll add them all onto the screen for you guys so you can see. Under navigation, your bearing to waypoint, your course to steer, the course that you're traveling on. Cross track error is your GPS position, so depending on the weather for the day, your satellites might be harder to select, so your EPE, the error on the GPS might be off by 2 or 3 meters. And then your destination, where you want to go to, and then your destination's position, and then distance to destination. So everything that you need is there.
Yeah, so if I give you my setup, I would have speed over ground, because for me, obviously you're traveling, not so much for traveling, but for drifting. So I want to see when I set up how fast the drift is going to tell me how fast the current is going. So that will determine then how far I go past the reef, especially if I'm drop shotting or jigging or bucktailing, how far I'll go up to make sure that I can get down to the bottom before I've traveled over the reef. So the overlay that I would have generally would be speed over ground. I'd have distance to goal. So in other words, if I put in a waypoint, it'll show me how far immediately. It'll show me on the screen how far it is to where I want to go. I'll then have bearing to goal, which is, so it'll show me what is the bearing to get to that waypoint. And then I'll have my bearing over ground, which is then showing me what direction I'm avidly traveling in. And then the idea is obviously to match those 2 bearings, to make sure that my bearing over ground is the same as the bearing to goal. So those are and my water temperature obviously. So those would be sort of the 4 or 5 basics that I would always want on every one of my screens, and I'll set that up and then carry that through as a basic.
Okay, so from there on we'll move over to the sonar, and this is where it gets really interesting. The unit will come standard, what we refer to as palette 1, which will give you this yellow bottom. But that means that the reef and the fish and everything that's on the bottom is all the same color. So you can't clearly see when the fish are holding on the bottom. So the first thing I like to do Let's change my palette. Now, for bottom tracking purposes, palette number 13 is the best palette to use. And not only for tracking, but identifying what you see on the bottom. So now you can clearly see the bottom is brown, and then anything suspended or that's part of the bottom will be a different color. So you can see where the oxygen starts coming up there. You can see that there's obviously oxygen going up, and then individual fish, and then you'll see everything on the bottom in a different color that's got oxygen in it.
So maybe just explain that oxygen a little bit.
Okay, so what we look for in when we search for fish, when we look at arches, we're looking for the fish's internal swim bladder, and that's where we get that yellow that you see inside the fish. That's where you'll find fish like tuna don't have a big yellow, and it'll be red and blue because their swim bladder is not that big.
Yeah.
But if you're fishing bottoms and you're catching dargo and geelback, there's a lot more air inside the fish, and that's where the yellow comes from.
Okay.
So standard out of the box, we recommend the auto mode. If you're fishing shallow water, there's no need to change, but we like to adjust. So if we go through range, I like to keep that on auto. The reason for that is obviously if you're traveling and there's a pinnacle or there's a hole or a drop off, you want to see where it is, and you can turn your boat around and go back and fish that kind of drop off. Frequency, our general fishing frequency is 200 kilohertz or high chirp, just because it's got a much higher ping rate than the 50 kilohertz. So when we go deeper, we'll switch over to the 50 kilohertz, which will slow down the pulse rate but allow us to get deeper penetration into the water.
And what depth? What would you say of depth when you switch on that?
Well, I'll fish on 200 kilohertz until I lose the bottom.
Okay.
Because that's the best frequency.
So like 140, I'm saying on a standard 600, I normally lose it around about 140, around there. So then that's when you'll switch.
Then you'll
to the
switch.
50.
Yeah, I'll always try and keep it on high chirp until I lose the bottom.
Just on the palette color, guys want to know, is it the same for fresh water?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
Okay, so sensitivity we leave on auto, but just to give you an example of what it does, when you start playing around with it, you'll see a lot of clutter on the top, a lot of clutter in the water column, but your fish arches will come through a lot stronger.
Yeah.
If we're fishing deep water, so sorry, it's going out of simulator. So just give you an example. If you're fishing in 100 meters of water, I had this discussion with a customer the other day, trying to explain to him how to see definition on the bottom. Is from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen is obviously 0 to your maximum depth, which is 100 meters. So for a fish to show up on 100 meters on this size screen, that fish has to be 40, 50, 60 kilos plus before you'll see the arch.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll tend to zoom in on the bottom, cancel out the top water column, and then focus on there. Then you'll be able to see the holes, the pinnacles, the drop-offs, everything much clearer than what you would see if you compressed it from 0 to the maximum
So
depth.
just show you how you zoomed in there.
So I'll touch my cursor, the up, left and right, I'll put it where I want it. Hit your zoom once. Oh, sorry, let me just do that again. Hit your zoom once, and then it will track the bottom, and you'll focus that bottom 10 meters onto the whole screen. So you'll get a lot more better clarity, target separation and definition by doing that instead of focusing on the entire water column.
Now, the other way, which just a personal preference as well, would just be without doing that, would you be able to just zoom?
Yep, and then you
Like
can
that,
use your
yeah.
cursor and scroll up and down on where
Yeah.
you want it to see it. I did mention the last time the scroll back feature, but I'll explain it again. So what the unit does, it pre-records itself every 7 minutes. So that means your history of where you've been, your sonar, your waypoints, all that information is saved while the unit is
7
scrolling.
minutes back.
So we can scroll back into the history and say, for instance, we like that little drop there. I'll hold my cursor button in, it will allow me to save the waypoint. I can then save it and then go back to the waypoint.
So a lot of times then, look, we'll get to the split screen shortly, but
Yeah.
a lot of the times when I'm traveling, I'll run obviously with a split screen. I'll have Jeep. If we've got one unit, especially on the jet ski, I'll have half the screen will be map, and then half the screen will be sounder. And very much you're running, you might look up and then you look down and you see, geez, I've just gone over a pinnacle or drop off, and that's where you just want to scroll back and mark it. it'll come up then on your map. It'll pop up on the map. I'm sure we'll look at it just now. And then you can turn around and basically just drive straight back on it, or even just mark it and leave it for another time. You just keep traveling. And a lot of times I've done, especially in new areas. So as you're going, oh, there's a bump. Mark it. Obviously, I've got the touch screen, so it's slightly easier. Just go and touch on it and mark it, and then carry on. And so by the time you get to a spot in a new place, you've actually marked like 3 or 4 pinnacles, drop-offs, showings even that you've seen on the way, which allows you, so you in your first day you really start building intel around in an area that you possibly haven't fished before. So yeah, it's a fantastic
but
feature.
even on that, Byron, I mean, I've seen you do that when you're fishing off of Durban.
Yeah,
You know,
even in Durban.
I mean, you know Durban like the back of your hand, but you still use that function even off of
100%.
an area that you know so well.
And what I love about Durban, because if you see something that you don't have the mark for, because look, in Durban, I've built up over time from people giving you cards, or like 10,000 marks. So just about every reef is marked. So when you are traveling in Durban and you do see a pinnacle and it's not on one of those marks, that's the one you want to mark, because you know, generally, look, if you don't have it, no one's actually got it.
Yeah.
So definitely a big help. And also for bait's always moving around. So even if, and you find that a lot when you're traveling towards a bait spot, 100, 200 meters away, hey, there's a showing market, still got a bait spot, and you go then also, oh, there's no bait in the bait spot. Come back there and you full lines with mackerel or whatever it might be.
And we were talking about that the last time we were here as well. Fishing an area like Ponto, where you've got that reef that runs from south to north, all the way up to Teko Benin, and sometimes it's covered. You know, those swells and seas move, they move the sand off the reef. You've got all those marks, you think you've got that reef properly mapped out and marked, and it can change within a couple of days.
Yeah, you have big weather, sunning happens, current changes, and it just settles sand over spots. A lot of times, and to your point, you go there and you actually think, well, there was a pin here, and there's actually no pinnacle. It's actually sanded up all around it, and then there's no showing. And like you come back a month later, and you go back there, and then there's all of a sudden the reef there's again, and there's a whole lot of fish.
And remember, all the waypoints that we get from guys from the olden days were saved when they saw it on the screen. There wasn't a scroll back feature, so now you can actually go and search the area, find where that pinnacle is, mark your own waypoint, and delete the old one that you had that was
accurate,
in the vicinity.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, a lot of waypoints are off, to your point, and you get the accurate one.
Okay, so from there we'll go ping speed. I like my ping speed maximum because I want as much information on the screen as possible. The only time I would really slow it down is if we're on anchor, just to slow down the pulse, so we don't want too much information coming through, then you know the fish are moving in and out. Scroll speed we'll keep on normal. Noise rejection on low, that's the noise that you'll see on the screen. So if I increase any electrical interference, and then on your surface clarity, this surface line you see on the top, if you put it on high, it will start blinking it out. If I go down to off, it's not going to do much on the simulator, but that's where this feature on the settings will adjust. And then color line 76%. I think the most important part about the installation is the transducer selection. Now every unit that comes out is not specifically paired with one transducer. So there's guys that are retrofitting that will have older transducers, 1 kilowatt transducer that I want to take off the boat. Yeah. So under each sonar selection, there's a transducer type to select. You have to pair the unit with the correct transducer that you're using in order to get the maximum out of your unit. I can't tell you how many boats I've been on where I jump on the boat and the transducer type is unknown. With the bigger end units now, they put the XID inside the transducer, which means the unit will automatically detect what transducer it is, but the entry-level units we still have to select when we power them up.
Yeah, and 90% of also people I've spoken to is when they have an issue, they say, oh, I'm not getting a good reading or whatever, the first thing they say, did you pair the transducer? No, and they go and literally in 10 seconds it's sorted out, So yeah, make sure you check that and that it's correct.
BK, Mary, your wife, says she wished you looked at me. I wish you looked at me the same way you looked at your Lowrance fish finder.
Okay, I can't even answer. It's given me so many hours of pleasure.
And doesn't talk back.
Never gives me any hassles at all, Been flawless.
Oh, good. You can say
I love you, Nigel. Don't worry, I'm going to show you the upgrade just now. Love. My Christmas present.
Okay, so sorry. From a waypoint perspective, now obviously guys get a lot of waypoints from friends, maybe from a different manufacturer or from a different unit, and there's different file versions that we use for instance, say version 2 is no depth. It's just a waypoint. That version is what we use for everything if we're exporting.
Yeah.
Because we use third-party products to convert waypoints and make lists and carry on. So when you're transferring waypoints, always try and use file version 2, no matter what Lowrance unit you have. Yeah. It just makes it easier for when you want to.
So that's like a basic, and it's less information,
Correct.
Smaller file, easier
So
to.
like version
bring
6 will
across.
give you the coordinate, it will give you the depth, it will give
Yeah.
you the time when it was.
Yeah,
like
stuff that you don't really.
stuff we
really
don't
yeah.
need.
Yeah.
So a program that I like to use is a program called GPS Utility. It's a free download from the internet if you want to do 100 waypoints at a time. So if a guy's you don't have the time to go and sit and type everything into the unit, you can create it on GPS Utility, put it on a .usr file, which is the Lowrance format, and then import it directly into the unit.
Okay.
And then we also got info on the units. I don't know if you guys have played with your units, but we got the tides, we got the sun and moon, we've got everything, all the information is on the unit that we need. And then we've got preset split screens where we can have the GPS on the one side with the sonar on the other side.
So that's, I mean, that's how most guys would run if you've got one unit on the boat or jet ski or paddle ski. You would have your map on the one side and your sound on the other side. So you can obviously see where you are, where you want to be, and then what's happening under you at that time. I'll add one more feature. What I'll do is I'll maintain top to bottom and have a secondary split on here for zoom. So, and that'll just allow me to see, because you can be looking for sort of baits and that on the bottom. At the same time, you don't want to miss the pelagics in the mid water by just having your zoom on. And even if you're fishing bottom fishing, you want to see the bottom. You want to see, as you said earlier, you need like a 50 kilo fish if you're looking top to bottom. So, I can't see in the bottom. No, you can't, because you're trying to squeeze 80 meters into a screen this high. So you need to have that zoom. You can look for bait. You can see your bottom fish. But I always like to have the top to bottom, because you never know what can come through. There might be red eyes that are sitting at 10 meters, even in the deep water, that you could then quickly obviously get a line over and get some nice good fresh bait as well. So yeah, that's another option.
And then we have the option to add our own custom pages. So we can say that we want chart in there, we want sonar, and we would like to see the downscan feature as well. Now for the guys that are fishing very shallow, the HDI transducers that the triple shot transducers that come with the 9 and the 12, if you're fishing shallow, you can do what we call fish reveal. So what Lowrance have done is they've taken the structure side of it and overlaid the sonar onto the screen to easily identify where fish are sitting and give you a three-dimensional picture of the bottom. Now by saying that, we compromise depth capability because we're running such high frequency, so we limit it to 40-50 meters in fresh water, and obviously depending on the ocean's density of the water, it will go from between 30 to 50 meters. Or depending on the day, you know, if you're a bit of a bumpy day, structure scan is not the thing to use. Sure. But we do get those days where the water's calm and we can start seeing structure. And looking at wrecks, especially off Durban, that are very shallow, is very, very nice on the down scan.
100%. And I think that's probably something that we're not using enough. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't use it because, you know, you just, again, you're set in your ways of fishing, you know. But definitely, I mean, especially if you're fishing around wrecks in shallow areas, I mean, and at your point, there's a lot of wrecks in shallow areas. We possibly fishing for darga and those sort of things that will be sitting in and around structure and that sort of thing. And even, I mean, we catch hillbeck and good bottom fish up to 50 meters. A lot of the reef sits in 45, you know, 27 fathoms in 45 meters. So definitely that's something I want to start sort of like focusing in on from a fishing perspective, yeah, because the technology is there.
Especially when you go down to the smaller screens, you know, when you basically got 3 pages within two. So you've got your structure to see the definition, you've got your sonar overlaid onto the structure, and then your chart.
And I mean, again, going back, guys, this is the entry level. Sorry, better, best.
Better, best.
Good, better, yeah. So, I mean, this is, but it is. I mean, really, this is where you're starting. This is your starting point. And the features on here, I mean, besides the touchscreen, you're getting just about everything, you know, which is more than enough to start with, you know, before you start getting technical, and then adding, like you say, you can add on all the extras from your multifunctional display.
Correct. I'm getting it right.
Liz, I get a star for that.
And then obviously there's your storage. So we can take one SD card per unit on the 5, the 7 and the 9. And as you know, when a unit is purchased in the US, for instance, a hook unit will come with a 1-year warranty. The TI2 would come with a 2-year warranty, and the HDS would come with a 2-year warranty. What we as Lowrance South Africa do is we offer a 3-year warranty across the board for each model.
One of the guys wants to know, do you guys have an anti-glare screen that clips onto the unit, especially for the kayak cars that are battling a bit with that?
Unfortunately not.
From a sun perspective.
Yeah.
Mick,
Yeah.
put something together.
Yeah, our good friend Mick Clark unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight. We miss you there, Mick, but I'm sure you'll be on the next one. And there's something for you to invent there, which you're always in the garage.
Yeah,
there.
he's a guru on inventing stuff, little add-ons and that, yeah. So I'm sure you'll come up with some little peak visor that can clip on and give you a little bit of shade. Yeah, look, but also the one nice thing is that there is adjustments on the back plates there, so you can change angles and that on the screen as well. And I see they're also moving forward with that as well. There's one that tightens up now as well. So yeah, you can hopefully turn it. Don't be lazy. Swing that ski a little bit into the sun.
Yeah, so
But yeah, it's something to consider. But also as you go up, your screens do get better in terms of clarity as well.
Oh yes, yeah, no, the
when you go to
HDS is,
functionality in the water as well.
yeah, when you go to the
we
live
talk
and that's
Solar Max HD displays on the HDSs, where it doesn't matter if you've got polarized lenses, it doesn't black out, and your view angle is a lot better.
Yeah, so there obviously are some limitations to certain units, and I think that's what the guys need to understand. I mean, this is your entry level unit. I mean, even though it is highly sophisticated, it's what we chatted about earlier, where your technology 10 years ago,
you wouldn't even think, and that was my point. I said as it's shortened up, the technology is moving quicker, because I mean I didn't even know that the hook was coming with the scroll back and that sort of thing, and the mapping. I mean, and I don't think from a year or two ago it didn't have it.
No, the units before didn't.
Yeah,
have
it didn't.
mapping,
You know, so in like a year, the new tech, which was considered new technology on the high end units, is already in the good unit. You know, so and it's value for money. So I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, really, as a startup unit for jet ski and paddle ski and even ski boat. I mean, geez, a 9-inch screen. It's very, very affordable. It's definitely.
What is the price on the 9-inch now, John?
Roughly, we won't hold you to it.
No.
Money, but if you were trying to get these features 2 years ago, you would be spending 30 or 40 grand.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it, and that's just to understand that the value for money is really in this unit. It's definitely.
And there was never 5200 kilohertz for the deep sea guys ever in an entry level unit, and now they've incorporated that for the guys that want to go a little bit deeper, but don't necessarily have or need the features that the bigger end units have.
Geez, awesome. That was fantastic. Thanks,
No
John.
problem.
That's lots of info there. But guys, if you have any other questions, John's your guy. And also, I think you've got a lot of info also on your website and links through to a lot of YouTube videos as well that goes into even more detail around the units as well. But if you do have any top line issues or questions, fire them our way. I think there's some more that might have come through, Kirk. I don't know if there's any more.
What amp hour battery would you recommend for the good, better, best options on a kayak?
Well, that obviously the Nokwa battery that we sell. I mean, the standard is a 10 amp hour battery.
Yeah.
The high end units are not going to be able to run off a 10 amp battery, but the hook units I think Mick tested a hook reveal unit and he got 16 hours out of a Nokwa 10 amp battery.
Those Nokwas are incredible. Guys, if you haven't, and I'm not just punting it because we're here at Lowrance, I bought one years ago, and it honestly is the most versatile little battery. We use it for cell phones when we go away, camping and that sort of thing, for the speaker, for everything. It is honestly for the cameras. It's honestly just even if you don't use it on your boat, just to have with you it's a lifesaver.
Yeah, I think Mick, he mentioned when he was there last time, I think he fished 4 or 5 times, I think, before he had to recharge.
Yeah, it's
So
incredible.
it is. I mean, especially if you're going away to places where you possibly don't have electricity,
Yeah,
so you don't have the option to charge. That's something you need in your arsenal, which a lot of the paddle ski guys are doing. They're going to more remote areas because that's the beauty of obviously paddle skiing, is that you can get into the eco, into the wild, and still get on the water.
One of the guys is wanting to know about the HDS unit behind Byron here, the 12-inch. Any comment on the unit behind Byron, is where Byron is now, the bigger 12-inch, please?
So
kind of
we can do a quick one, but what we said we're going to do is we're going to run through each unit in detail like this. So tonight was the hook, so that was the good, and then we're going to look at something new that's coming. Can't give it away. I don't know if you can.
No. I just wanted, as you can see, that the middle
sold
of
out.
the stand is empty. It's not because we didn't have good units on. We completely sold out. We ran a special on the TI for the month of November, and they absolutely absorbed it. Every single unit was sold out in I think maybe a week and a half.
So we're going to go through then the replacement for this that's coming soon, which we'll have in the next show. And then in the show after that, we're going to go through the HDS range, and there's a lot of info on there because, as you said, that brings in a whole different scope in terms of what can be linked up to it and what it can run on your boat overall. So there's a specific question there. We can maybe answer it, or
no, that was it. I mean, we can definitely.
We'll send it through, and then we can. And
we're having some connection issues, guys. Unfortunately, with the weather at the moment, it is a little bit iffy. But thankfully we got most of that off before we lost the connection. We'll continue as we go here. I don't know how good it's going to be, but we will push on and see. I see quite a few oaks have left. Unfortunately, the weather is quite bad outside, so I think that's where the problem is coming in. We finished up here, John. All good. Just again on that little the prize that's been given away for the best question and just on the hook units currently.
Sorry, I didn't get. Sorry, say that.
No, I'm saying the prize that you guys are giving away.
So what we'll do tonight for the guys at home is give away one of the Lowrance branded packs. And Byron, do you wanna think of a question? And the first guy to
guys, you were watching hopefully the detail that we were going through here. So there's a warranty that's given from overseas. What is the warranty that Lowrance South Africa gives? The additional warranty that they give on all of the units, all 3 of the units.
all 3 ranges.
Okay, all 3 of the ranges. The first guy to come through with that on the feed on our Facebook there will win that great pack. So that's the cap, the waterproof bag, towel, buff. I think there's the keyring, measure, and a whole lot of other goodies there. So
cool.
Awesome. Thanks.
Guys, we're gonna jump back in front of the screens quickly, just going over those comps again that you can attend. That Umshonga Festival is next weekend, and then we're running into the Belito comp on the 17th to the 20th of December as well. Now, that Belito comp is definitely one not to be missed as well. They've got a lovely tent there, live music. The members are a fantastic bunch of guys to mingle with and socialize with. Just don't get too caught up in that tent because you'll get hurt. You definitely won't be launching the next morning, that's for sure, if you stay there too long. But it really is a lovely comp, and there's some really great prizes on offer there from Ali and the team at Belito Ski Boat Club. Before we say goodbye, let's have a look and see. I think we've got a winner here.
Sure.
Geez, Tristan, you're making this a habit, eh? Tristan Thoresen, 3 years. Well done, but you win yourself this lovely hamper here from Lowrance in front of us. Tristan won our competition last week, Friday as well. So he's making a habit of
Lucky
this.
draw as well.
Yeah. And yeah, that was a lucky draw as well, like Byron says. Guys, just before we duck, I've got a clip here, another clip from of a Lowrance unit, just on a thermocline, something we picked up while we were in Shirley Beach. We're going to run over it very, very briefly. Something that I think quite a few guys aren't too familiar with, and just get the microphone here. Something that you guys aren't too familiar with regards to the thermoclines maybe, and we're going to pick it up on a video here, and Byron can give us a bit of an explanation of thermoclines and how they work.
Yeah, so basically what it is, you get a lock in water temperature, and what it shows because the density is different in the water column, it shows basically as a showing on the finder. And what will happen then is your fish also will tend to operate around it. There possibly could be bait either caught up in it, sitting slightly above it or below it, and your pelagics can be moving around it as well. So, and on fishing on particularly on Monday on Kirk's boat, so that was the thermocline showing there, and just see the setup there. So that's with a white background. So it's a white background setting on the Lowrance. So again, looking at your different palette colors and settings you can, but there you can clearly see it. So what you'd want to do then is set a bait at that depth. So you can set a bait at that depth. A lot of guys have got different techniques. You can take the rod height and give it 5, 6 to get and understand that you're giving out 3, 4 meters and count that down. Even a lot of the times on the Lowrance units, if your setup's right, you'll actually see your sinker going down. I mean, I was fishing, and you'll see it on the live stream or on the video. I was fishing catching bait, and you can see my Yazuri going down. So I mean, there's no more detail than you can see than that, then you know your sound is set up correctly. And then what you'll do is you want to obviously set your bait, so you can set a bait in it, you can set a bait slightly above it and one slightly below it as well. So yeah, but those are small nuances, little gold little things that are given away in each of the shows, and that's why I think it's important to watch who we're fishing with, because everyone's giving away a little tip within the show. That's vitally important, and it's a learning curve even for me.
And Byron, just to add to that thermocline comes up the best on 200 kilohertz. So if you guys are specifically looking,
set at 200,
then you set to 200 kilohertz, and then you'll be able to pick it up.
Yeah, you can see most of those fish are actually sitting above the thermocline, which is generally where the fish would sit. They would be sitting above that, just above that thermocline, or sort of in that top part of that thermocline. I mean, this is vital when looking for stuff like tuna and marlin.
Water. Open water fishing.
Yeah, 100%. The guys really utilize this. The big marlin fishermen, the big tuna fishermen, and that really use this. I mean, I've heard stories of guys off of Richards Bay where they've come back with all the flags, tearing down their pole there of all the different marlin that they've caught, specifically because they've found that thermocline in the middle of the bush, and that's where the marlin have been sitting. So it's vitally important, guys, to pay attention to your finder at all times, not only for that little scroll back part to the finder that we showed you earlier, where you can actually scroll back and mark a specific pin or pinnacle, but also for things like this, where you are able to check out those thermoclines. Now, before we duck, I've got to show you one more thing, just to get the blood boiling a bit here, and it's another reason. This reel is around 14 grand at the moment, so this is definitely 14,000 reasons why you should be insured with Club Marine. So here we go.
Fucking hell, what is...
That was Keegan Murgatroyd again in the Seychelles. One of the trips that Go Fish does through Go Fish tours to Mahe in the Seychelles, and then you get on the yacht and you head out to the outer islands, to places like De Roche and Poivre, St. Joseph's, fishing for big units like that, doggies and GTs that can do that to you, almost pull you overboard and lose some of the tackle. Guys, I just want to say, I see Mick's just jumped on here as well. Mick, we miss you here this evening, but I'm sure we'll catch up in the next one when you can make it. Yeah, guys, just a big thank you once again, John, to you guys and Lowrance and the team for having us here. Always lekker to be here and always very informative. The guys really enjoyed. So massive thank you, and BK, shot for.
No, thanks very much. Yeah, thanks, John, as well. Yeah, it's great info there. I mean, like I say, you're learning all the time. Every time you come, you pick up something new. So yeah, once again, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
100%, guys, and make sure that you catch our schedule of shows and weekly highlights and top tips. We've obviously got the show on Monday nights at 8. Go fish with friends. Our next show will be airing next Monday, which will be the start of the Belen series, where Ellie goes up and tackles the mountain of fish that he got up there, along with guys like Kevin Tate and Brad Douglas and a couple of the other guys that went up and enjoyed Belen a couple of weeks ago. Then we move into the Shelley Beach series, which is when we went up there now this last weekend with the family and managed to get into a good couple of fish on Monday, and obviously has got that vital information on that kite fishing, guys. That is something you do not want to miss. We also did a little bit of slow pitch down there as well, with a couple of the paro jigs as well, and got a couple of nice fish. But we've then got obviously the top tip on every Wednesday, and then our highlights, this Thursday night show at 7:30 that we do every Thursday, and then every Friday we've got our highlights, a fishing highlights reel that we show you that airs during the day at about midday on Friday, and that is a highlights reel of all the fishing that was done during that week. Guys, for any more information, any information that you want on lures, on tackle, on finders, on these Lowrance units behind us, give us a call. Even if you're looking to buy a boat for the new year, give us a shout as well. We'll be able to help you out with anything. That's what we're here for, and that's why Go Fish has started doing all these things, is to retain you guys in the sport and make sure that the sport of angling carries on growing. So till next week, thanks very much for tuning in. We really appreciate your support, and we'll check you next Thursday. Cheers.